being here. As a member of the Armed Services Committee, I've been here almost 6 years. I can recall when I was appointed, I didn't realize that it was and does have a proud tradition of being very bipartisan in its thinking, its commitment to producing a bill, bringing that bill to the floor, passing it out of the House, and then going to conference after the Senate similarly passes a bill. And it is in that conference where we resolve our differences, swallow some of them, proudly proclaim success in others, and then move on, because we understand how important it is to the defense of our country. And I think Chairman McKeon has honored that tradition, and I'm suggesting maybe he should become head of the House Budget Committee, because we know the House has passed a budget, the Senate has passed a budget. There is a process, and it is called Conference Committee. It is a process that we honor and engage in every year. But back to sequester. I'm dismayed that we had many, many hearings in which we talked about the damages of sequester, and now we're really talking about how to weather them. And I commend you all. I, for one, do think there is room for additional cuts. I am ranking member of Oversight and Investigations. We've had a hearing about the growth in the Office of the Secretary of Defense, that there is growth in the overhead. There are areas where we can look carefully and bring about savings in order to put more funds into things that really count. But sequestration obviously is not the way forward because of the kind of across-the-board lack of discretion that you all confront. And General Odierno, when I hear you talk about readiness and I see the extraordinary bravery of those who serve in our behalf, the wounds they have to absorb, the life-changing nature of being in war, to think that we would ever compromise their readiness, I think, and put them in harm's way knowing they are not adequately trained. And I know you would not do that. You would find a way to avoid it. But I think it's a way of bringing home to the American people what sequestration means. It's an all-volunteer force. It's not one in which we call upon all Americans to think about our young people coming to serve, and we would never want to send our young people to war without knowing that they were trained. I think the other way in which sequestration has become so hard is it's such a big term. The dollar amounts are so large. But you hear about it, we hear about it in our districts, we hear about it through the furloughing of people. And one of the places in which I've heard about it in my district, it is home to Natick Soldier Systems Center. It's a center that really invests in research and development, science and technology, with a focus to, again, protect our soldiers and find new ways forward to protect them as they engage in war. I've seen some great work done there around lightening the load of body armor, developing body armor tailored to women, making uniforms fire retardant, the ways in which to conserve energy and recycle water out, and so that our soldiers don't have to put themselves in harm's way. But I've also learned that there's been a real bleeding of that workforce. It's my understanding that they've sustained a workforce attrition of 52 personnel in this fiscal year, more than double the annual average, and including a number of PhDs. So for an installation that develops this life-saving equipment, we know PhDs, the heart and soul of research and development and technology and science, are key. We cannot develop those new cost-saving, life-protecting measures without all the tremendous investment. So we're not going to be repealing sequestration anytime soon. How do you, General Odierno, protect that investment in this important work so that we know we're always on the cutting edge protecting our soldiers?
First, Congresswoman, thank you very much for your question. And I would just say #1 priority is our soldier systems, as you mentioned, getting them the best equipment possible for them to be able to conduct the operation we want them to do, whether it's lightening the load, all the things you mentioned, to include many, many others. The problem is that, because we've had to go into a hiring freeze, because of furloughs, because of incidents like this, we are starting to lose some of our very important workforce because they are uncertain about the future that they have working with us. So We have to make sure that we maintain a balanced force that allows us to continue in our highest priority, which is what you just talked about. So for us, it's very concerning. I will take a look at programs that will allow us to keep the best, because we need our scientists, we need our engineers, we need our PhDs to help us to come up with the new ideas and technologies for us to take care of our young men and women in uniform.
I urge you to do that despite all these financial challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rogers.